Hi there, I'm Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts, and today I am going to do a tutorial for you for my latest gingham blanket, which is just using 2 colors of yarn. And I'll show you how to mix the colors in order to get the blue and white. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so before we get started, I want to tell you that the stitch I'm using is called the extended single crochet, and I'll give you a demonstration of that in just a minute. But I am doing a pattern repeat of 10 stitches plus 1. So what that means is that if my blanket right now is 91 chains, because each block is 10 stitches. Okay, so I like to begin the row and end the row with the same color. So if you want to make your blanket even wider than mine, you need to use an odd number. So say I have 90, I would do 110, I would do 130. 130 probably would get you to be a really nice lap size blanket. But anyway, I'll have all the measurements of this blanket on my website, daisyfarmcrafts.com, and we'll put the link in the description if you're seeing this on YouTube. But I'm also going to show you how to combine the 2 skeins to get this color. And then I worked it for 8 rows high. So 10 stitches wide, 8 rows high. And also, it's a little bit tricky when I'm combining yarn to discover which hook size, because obviously this is Bernat Softy Baby yarn. It's a size 3 weight. I like combining actually the lightweight yarns. I'm finding I have done Karen Simply Soft in the past, but I think those blankets are just a little bit too heavy. This is a really, it's not bulky, but it's firm and it's a really good weight. But you'll have to kind of do your own test swatch to see what size hook, because on the package it's a G, and for me I went up to a K when you're combining the yarn. So I think that's all I want to say about this. And obviously this blanket I haven't put a border on. I'm going to show you that at the very end. So I thought we'd just get a swatch going. Okay, so again, like I said, here's the yarn. And the first thing you're going to want to do is find the middle of each skein. And I don't know if I pulled from the middle yet. And let's hope it doesn't come out as a big, huge clump. If it does, I'll have to, because this is the trickiest part about getting a skein started. Uh-oh, looks like I'm going to have yarn barf. So I will have to figure this out and find that end. Oh, maybe it's in here. All right, just a minute. Okay, I found it. And if you are a beginner, it is, even though the middle, comes out looking like guts, find the end that's in the middle of a skein, because it pulls a lot easier. You won't have if you use an end that's on the outside of the skein, then it just rolls and rolls on you, and it becomes more tangled. Find the one from the middle. And all I'm doing is you're going to want to make some softball size yarn, balls of yarn first. That's the first thing you're going to do. So I simply just start by wrapping around my finger and go to town. And so do this. What you're going to want to do is you have to have, obviously, you're going to do 2 blues, 2 whites, and a blue and a white. And then probably halfway through your blanket, I had to do another blue and white, because you're using this blue and white color throughout the whole blanket. So for my baby blanket size, you need to buy 4 skeins or balls of each color. Okay, so I will get this done. Get your balls. That's how you wind it. Oh, and I would actually take it off my finger once I get a good amount. See, look at all this. Real life. This is what it is like sometimes. These are not easy to get going. Very typical. And then I just start going the other way like that. Okay, so I'll get this one going. I got to get my other balls of color together too. All right, so for this little demonstration, I'm making them just a little bit smaller than baseball size. But I want you to realize that if you make them softball size, you'll get several. And I do recommend that you kind of, you know, cut them off and just have lots of balls. I know that you'll have to weave in the ends, but it's a little bit better than working with a giant thing. But here's the two, you know, I have the two skeins here. And I finally got that yarn mess worked out. And it is, I'm pulling from the middle of the skeins. Here's the two blue. And I'm just going to get this one. So you will wind two blue together, two white together, and then a blue and a white to get your colors. So I start it like that, kind of take it off, and then just start wrapping around that way. Get it going. So there is a little bit of prep for this blanket. All right, now we have our three colors that we need to work with. Now, my favorite way to start the gingham blanket, as I'll show you, is to start with the darker color and alternate it with the stripe. But since blue is really hard to see as for me to demonstrate with, I am going to start with the white. So I'll do a row of, you know, I'm going to start like with this row, but my favorite way to start the blanket is blue. But for this, and that's what the pattern will say, it will have you start with blue. But in order for you to see what I'm doing, I'm going to use the lighter color. So I will start, and I'm going to use that, like I said, the pattern repeat, and I'm going to do 30 chains. So then we have 3 sections to work through, and I'll add 1. So I'm going to be putting 31 chains, making 31 chains here. One of my most best tip that I have for when you make a gingham blanket is to start with a practice swatch. There's several things that you need to figure out about your tension and about what size hook you need for this starting chain. If after I make just 8 rows, whatever, I see that this was saggy, this chain, then I will go down a hook size. So lots of things to learn about with a sample swatch is just my best suggestion. Okay, we're going to just start in the second chain from the hook, and an extended single crochet starts just like a regular single crochet where you insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And instead of pulling right away through 2 loops, we're just going to go underneath 1, and then we're going to go underneath 2 loops, like that. So you're just kind of, and you're extending the single crochet by a chain. Kind of makes it just a little bit taller. But with my gingham blanket here, I really liked how this extra chain kind of locked down the extra yarn that we're going to be carrying along here in just a second when we add the white in. So I'm doing this for the next 10 chain spaces. So we'll have a total of 10 stitches, yarning over, pulling up a loop, pulling through 1, and then pulling through the other. Okay, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a ways to go here. Here's number 6. Here's number 7. Okay, number 9. And now on this 10th one, you're going to go ahead and start it. I want you to yarn over and then pull through the 1, but hold off right here. I'm going to put this striped yarn to the front of my work, and I'm going to always try and keep it there. Now I'm going to add in the white, and the white will always stay to the back of my work. So I'm just simply laying the yarn, giving myself enough tail to weave in later, simply laying it over the hook and pulling it through. Now I will leave the little tail behind. Go ahead and pull up my white yarn. And now we will still continue to crochet over the striped yarn. So I lay it kind of along the top of the chain. I insert my hook to start the next stitch under those 2 loops. And I promise you this first row is usually the trickiest. And now I'll just start with my extended single crochet. But you see how that chain, I really liked how it just hid the yarn a little bit better for me, but yet I got the height of a double crochet for this blanket, and I liked that. It seemed, I've done ginghams all sorts of ways. I have an all single crochet version, I have half double crochet versions, and I just thought I'd experiment with this extended single crochet version, and I like it. Okay, so I'm working this for the next 10 stitches, and then I'll show you how I'm going to pull up this yarn that we're carrying along and use it for the last 10 stitches. And I better count where I'm at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 7. That was number 9. Here's number 10. So we're just going to work half of the stitch. Now this is what's important, is to just keep this white yarn to the back. Very important, keep that to the back. Pull up with the new color, the stripe, kind of adjust your attention, and now still carry that white. Now you could choose, if this was your last block, as you're getting your blanket to go bigger, you can drop this white behind you. It's fine. I like to continue carrying it along because I want my blanket to feel the same. But if you are concerned, or you want to try and save a little bit on, you know, crocheting over yarn that you really don't need, go ahead and you can drop it and pick it back up. Personal preference, totally up to you. I've had people ask me that question too. Yes, and of course there is no rule or not anything. The only thing I can think of why I do it is, one, because I just want it. I don't know, my brain works that way. It's probably the best answer. It's like I just don't want to forget about it, and it just was easier to just keep it running through the whole blanket. Okay, getting to the end of the row, and I'm going to show you how to carry this white yarn around the side. I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and just wrap it around the back. Make sure it's kind of coming around with me. Insert my hook into that very first stitch. I'm going underneath the white yarn as well, pulling up a loop, pulling through 1, pulling through 2. I'm going to keep going, and I want to do one more color change for you to make sure you understand how to keep the striped yarn to the front of your work. This will help you to keep the yarn from twisting. It's a huge time saver. So I just want to really make sure you understand that concept. Okay, here we are in the 10th stitch, almost there. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, I'm going to work through one, stop right here, keep this to the front before I pull through with the white. And I generally make a decision before I start each row. Okay, I'm going to keep the stripe to the front, the white to the back, and then just go from there. And the white was there because I was carrying it along. And now, here we go. And this little yarn gets hidden, sort of. Now, I want to show you on the original blanket. I think you probably have the hang of this now. So I want to show you though, because this is another common question, is that people ask me, they say, hey, I can see this yarn. I know in the pictures that I post, sometimes it's hard to tell. And that's what I do love about it. From a distance, you really can't tell. You can see just a little bit of that blue going through, but from a distance, you really can't tell. And it kind of adds to the overall gingham look. If you study gingham, you know, a piece of gingham fabric, you can see that that's kind of what gingham is. It's the blending of the two colors together. So sometimes I've used shading, and in this technique, I've just combined the yarn. So I like both. Okay, I think that is good. What else? Oh, hold on. I think I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to be doing for the border. Actually, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I want to make sure you understood how to add in the next color. So pretend I've done this for 8 rows and we've got a big block. I'm going to always use this striped color. So what I need to do now is just simply cut off the white. I will have to weave that end in later. Cut the white off. And now I will add in the navy blue. Simple, same thing. I just lay it over the hook, lay an end over the hook, and it's on the last stitch that I do that. And now, pull this down, adjust this tension. I will chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to wrap this striped yarn around the back. Kind of make a decision. I think I still will keep my striped yarn to the front of my work, but for right now it's going to go along with me. Keep that dark color to the back. Work right into that first stitch underneath the 2 strands I'm going to carry along with me. Pull through, and here we are on our way. So now the dark blue will be alternating with the striped. And I'll work this striped color over the white. I would say this is the most, sometimes can be tricky too, getting your colors straight. Takes a while for your mind to understand that. If you choose this dark color to be the color that's in every row, your gingham sort of has a checkerboard look to it. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the look that you want. I've seen lots of beautiful blankets making it that way. But to me, it doesn't look quite like the gingham look, like this shaded look. So I just want you to be aware of that. I kept that blue to the back, and then I pulled through. All right. Now I think you're on your way. I think you can get this. And that's what I'm saying. I think the K actually is going to be good. Good tension for me. I hope yours, it's not too tight and it's not too loose. All right, so for this blanket, I'm going to work the simplest of borders. So I'm just down here at the bottom corner and I'm inserting my hook like that. I'm going to still use yarn that has been double stranded together. So I'm going to do my border in the navy blue, but you can do it, you know, with any of it. But I am going to do that. I'm going to pull up a loop, leave that, and I'm going to just chain 1. And then in that kind of locks that stitch down. In that same space though is where I'll work my first extended single crochet. And I am going to work up the side first in kind of each one of these little indentations of the row. I'm going to work 1 extended single crochet per row. And I just realized you might have a hard time seeing this color of yarn. Hopefully there's enough light shining on that. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to just really try to put 1 per row, make it as evenly spaced as possible. This is the hardest part about the blanket, honestly, is getting these borders. But I think this extended single crochet is going to do a nice job. And I will work this around the blanket 3 or 4 times. I'll let you know in the blog post when I'm finished. And I will work 3 extended single crochets in each corner. So pretty standard. Then I'll come back around, chain 1 and turn and go around. But you can follow those directions on my website. Should be pretty easy from here on out. Okay, you will be a pro at the extended single crochet by the time you finish this blanket. Okay, thank you everyone for coming by our website and for watching our videos on YouTube. It's been really fun to kind of get a new community together here on YouTube for us. So thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day.